What do you think about the economy?
Sucks. I like a cheese dick, and you'll see what happens.
Hey, it's RichardMShelton with No Excuse Real Estate. We're going to speak with Brian Jackson, the Trap House King. We're talking about family. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about investing and being a better father.
Am I your first guest?
You are the first guest, man.
Oh, wow.
Man, thank you, Ryan, for being here.
Yeah, man.
Man, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the events, man, to being out there tonight. You got one in Fort Worth. You got one in Dallas. Man, what inspired you to kind of get that going?
Well, I started back in 2017. It was me, Chase Howard, and Freddie Sotelo. And we were just kind of sick of the normal real estate meetups that you have where everybody's cramming their product down your throat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what, let's just get some guys in a room and drink some beer and let's just see where this goes. And then, you know, Chase has got a million things going on, doing storage. He's got kids and professional soccer damn near. And then Freddie Sotelo's doing Fight Unite, doing a lot of things. And it's just they don't have time for it. But I kind of just ran with it, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. I mean,
and you know, what is this from 2017 to 2023? What is that, 6 years minus COVID and some riots in Fort Worth?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty strong, man. I mean, I go out there and I see hundreds of people at some of these events, man. I mean, it's really fantastic what you put together. I'm grateful for it. I've learned a lot. I'm sure a lot of other people had great content. I mean, what have you kind of seen as some of the stronger benefits for you out of it?
I know every person in this state of Texas and damn near like the city that are in this business.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to pour over across the country, that people are coming in from across the country to speak at our event. And when you have, I don't know how many people we've had speak at these masterminds, but I mean, it's safe to say at least 100 people at this point.
Yeah.
So 100 different people that have spoken at these masterminds, you get 100 points of view. And what that does is it rounds you into a better investor. You know, I could literally go through my mind of all the masterminds, and it's like, oh, I need some help with Airbnb. I need to call Kristen Gerst because she spoke about Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
I need some help with some real estate in Corpus Christi. I need to call RichardMShelton.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know what you're going to learn from these people.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, the connections I make at these meetings, the ones that I do myself, the ones I go and visit with you guys, they're phenomenal. I mean, I agree with you. You know, learning from everybody else and seeing what they're doing and being able to solve those problems and figure out alternative ways to solving problems, it's been just an incredible experience for us. And so I'm super grateful for bringing us, bringing me up into this market back again. This is actually my hometown. I'm from Fort Worth, but I haven't spent a lot of time, and I've made a lot of great connections out there. So we're super glad to be a part of that. Man, tell us, a little bit about you, so people can kind of connect with you. I mean, something I like to ask a lot of people is, what makes you you?
Well, I really don't know how to answer that. What makes me me? But I'm Ryan.
Uh-huh.
I buy houses. I buy trap houses.
There you go.
And that theme has definitely got my phone ringing. So that's just kind of my mantra. I buy trap houses. I like the bottom of the barrel ones. I like them brick. I like them in Metro Texas.
Okay.
I'm married. Got a baby on the way.
Yeah.
I'm a former financial advisor. I got a couple degrees. I guess I'm a smart guy. I guess.
There you go.
Well connected.
Well connected guy. Yeah, that's working out good, man. So what kind of makes you appeal towards that trap house genre?
Well, why don't you look around the room? And I don't mean this room. I mean, go to Texas Tuesday and look around the room. Go look at your Facebook and your Instagram feeds and see who's doing deals, and tell me what those people look like. And what I mean, this is a question I want you to answer.
Yeah.
When you look around the room, who do you see?
Yeah, well, I mean, I see all kinds of varied people. I've got some people are high end. They got
right.
a lot of money. They're pretty polished and pretty well set. And then I've got a couple of the hustle level. They're coming in there and they don't know what they're doing, but they got the energy and they got the drive. They're out there trying to make something happen, man. So.
And there's a lot of people that are at the ground level of this business.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're at the ground level of this business, you kind of have to go after the low hanging fruit.
Correct.
And when we're talking low hanging fruit, let me backtrack just a second. When you're trying to buy real estate, it's a chess match. I mean, it's undisputed. It's a chess match. It's not a game of checkers. It's a game of chess.
Correct.
And when you're dealing with people that are on the ground level of this business, they're not the best chess players yet. So who also is not the best chess players? People that own trap houses. The people that own $1 million houses in Prestonwood here in Dallas, they're professional chess players. In the hustle, if it makes
Absolutely.
sense. Mama didn't raise no fool.
Correct.
And I'm not saying people raise fool, but if you're gonna let your house turn into a trap house, you're probably a fucking fool.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's super important. I mean, a lot of the properties that we buy, I mean, these things are run down, tear apart, torn up. I mean, they've got huge issues. But sometimes I'm debating: should I tear it down? Should I rebuild it? Or do I try to rehab this thing? Man, it's so I mean, I'm 100% with you. We get the strongest deals on those lower income houses. We're able to provide low income housing. We're able to provide affordable housing in that area. So I mean, I'm definitely with you on that, man.
Well, let's get back to the people around the room here. Young men. There are young women, but it does seem like there's more young men in the trap house hustle. They're often all walks of life, minorities, non-minorities, and let's talk about these young men. What kind of music do they listen to? Rap music,
rap and pop, yeah.
Rap and pop. I mean, that's just what the young people listen to is rap. I mean, I'm wearing an Ozzy Osbourne shirt, but I don't really listen to a lot of rap and pop until I do, I guess. But that's not really my first choice. But if you take the younger generation and you take what they're into, I rhyme with their theme. Like, this dude's slinging trap houses. I want to connect with somebody that does that.
Yeah.
Versus the other guys that are dealing with $500 to $1 million houses. Those aren't trap houses.
Correct.
And they're not really rhyming with them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So that's why I went with this theme, and it's stuck, and it's working really well.
Yeah, you're able to pick up the products that you want and connect with the people who
bring the products to the table.
Bring the products to the table, and they're going to work well for you, and you're helping them get to their next level,
Right.
and they're helping you continue to grow your brand and business.
Right.
I mean, and those are great connections. I mean, kind of parallel with that, Brenna, have recently connected with a lot of youth that have wanted to kind of get something going. They're not making any money. They're not feeling that there's any opportunities for them. So it helped these guys kind of get started and going. And some of these kids, I mean, I got a kid that's 17 years old, making 30 grand in this business in a couple weeks, just helping me find properties, and we're, I think, connecting with the people that society kind of doesn't put a shine on. Everybody likes seeing Elon Musk because he's rich, or the Grant Cardones because they're famous and out there. But there's so many hardworking people that want to improve their lives and do better. And when we can provide a resource for them to be able to, and an outlet for them to deliver, watching them grow and develop is pretty fantastic, man. I really enjoy watching those things come along. And then obviously for the business side, we're able to pick up more rentals, we're able to pick up more Airbnbs, we're able to pick up more multifamilies. And then the connections I have is when somebody calls and they say, and they have a problem, they know who to call. They know that guy solves problems, that guy gets things. So somebody has a trap house, I know they're going to you. They're going to call you because you're everywhere. I see you in my feed. I see you. I see you all. I mean, on Instagram, TikTok, man. How do people find you if they haven't found you already?
Hashtag I buy trap houses.
I buy trap houses.
Hashtag I buy trap houses. If you just go to Google, I'm number one on Google. And what's funny is that we're here
number one on Google.
Yeah, we're here at the drawing board here in Richardson, Texas, and my number one video was cut on the back patio here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, millions and millions of views, and it was why I buy trap houses.
Oh man.
So if you Google search hashtag I buy trap houses, you'll find my number one video. It's cut right downstairs.
All right, man. Ryan Harper's making things change here.
Yeah.
We got Ryan Jackson and Ryan Harper Belmont. We're making things happen, man.
Yeah.
So we got man, and that's really what it is. I mean, getting out there, being known for what you do, and delivering on what you say you're going to do, I think makes a huge impact. I got a lot of people that talk, but they can't deliver, and then we've got a lot of people with interest. So if we're able to say, okay, you're almost there, and we can pull you to the next level, those people are loyal to you for life.
Well, part of my advertisement is I'm Metro Texas number one trap house buyer. I'm Corpus Christi's trap house buyer. I'm Houston's number one trap house buyer. I'm San Antonio. I'm Amarillo. I'm Tulsa. I'm Oklahoma City. I'm DFW. I'm Denton. I'm Waco. I'm every major metro in Texas and Oklahoma's number one trap house buyer. And by God, I'm going to let everybody know.
You want to let them know?
I'm going to let them know.
So we know how to find you. We know where to get you. So what other kind of you got some family stuff going on. You got a baby on the way.
Yeah, we got a little girl on the way.
Oh, so you know
Yeah.
it's a girl already?
Yeah, we found out. I guess it was last weekend that we're having a little girl.
Oh man.
God help me.
Yeah, that's the comeuppance for the.
Yeah, I mean, I am praying like a madman right now for wisdom. I'm praying for health. I'm praying for a lot of things right now, and
What's your number one concern? You think?
not knowing what I'm doing.
Well, that's.
I have no experience in this ballpark. You know,
no children at all.
no children at all.
I got 5 of them, and every single one of them is different. I have 3 that are my blood children, 2 that we have adopted, and I wish that there was a repeating pattern between the 2. Each individual one is their own human. So having to figure out what their challenges and their blessings, that's individually it's just like any other relationship. I don't know what I'm going to run into. I got one, sweet kid. Not he's probably not going to be a Rhodes Scholar, but so we're trying to work on those. One super smart, doesn't get along with people as good as I like, so we have to adapt on those things. One's autistic. I'm always going to have to be concerned. I got one that's just energy and go, go, go. She's the one I'm most worried about. So you got the daughter. She's 8, and I can see in my mind she's going to be the one that's in the big trucks on the back of the motorcycle with the boyfriends that I don't like.
Yeah,
that's but that's her vibe, and I know it. So man, I'd love to see how you grow and develop with a child. I think it's going to be fantastic, man.
I'm trying to look at the situation through my mother's eyes, and
yeah, like how so?
Well, I mean, I just kind of go back through my memories, and, and I'm not looking at it from my point of view anymore. I'm looking at it from my mother's point of view.
Yeah.
And what did she do, and how did I respond to it? I mean, I part of the reason why I want to look at through my mother's eyes is she did a damn good job. She raised 2 millionaires, and the third one's coming.
Oh,
my younger brother's coming. He's on another flip in Amarillo right now, so he's on the come up too. But my mother raised two millionaires and a third one that's on his way up, and I fully expect my little brother to be a millionaire probably in the next 3 to 5 years based on his trajectory. And he didn't get a lot of the same coaching and stuff because he was the younger one, and
Sure.
we sold a family business before he was matured enough to work there. And he made a comment to me a couple weeks ago. He said, "Ryan, you're 20 to 25 years ahead of me just because you started at the age of 11."
Yeah.
I filed taxes at 11 years old, all the way up.
All the way up.
All the way up. So,
What kind of business were you in at 11?
I was a professional dishwasher at Belmar Bakery in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And then at 13, I was a professional baker at Belmar Bakery in Amarillo, Texas, after school and during the summers.
Oh man.
Then I became a roofer at 17, or at 15 I was a roofer.
That's
and
a
then
job, man. That's
17 I
tough.
was running crews. Then I moved down here and worked for a little company called Singular Wireless at the ripe age of 17.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me start till I was 18. So
Yeah.
I got the job at 17, and the rest is history.
Yeah, man. But, I mean, and you kicked ass. You made a lot of stuff. So you got your mom's doing a good job. She's got 3 millionaires in the making. You're going to push for the B. You're going to try to. What's your goal? What's your next goal past where you're at right now?
To just be a dad, man.
Be a dad.
Like, really, just be a dad and figure this out. Like, I've been just slinging it for these last 6 or 7 years, and just trying to prepare for this. My mother made a comment to me a long time ago. I'm 38. And This is my first child. I mean, it really 20 years after the graduation of high school.
Yeah.
And I've waited so long. My mother made a comment to me, I don't know, probably a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Ryan, if you wait till you can afford children, you'll never have children." Joke's on her.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think that children force you to make changes in your life to solve the challenge of having children. I mean, they're wonderful. They do a lot of great things. They bring a lot into your life. There's love, support, and I love those aspects. But they also put you in a situation where now it's not me. It's not about me.
Yeah.
I've got a spouse I need to support. Whether this relationship lasts or not, that them being solvent and them being okay is imperative. I have a child that needs to have stability. They need resources. They need education, diapers, food. They have to have a home, stability, safety, security. And your mindset's not always like that before the children, because usually it's those things kind of come as default, but they're you centric. You're focused on what's best for me.
Right.
How do I build my brand? How do I build my business? How do I, get these things going? And then the relationships may be secondary. And then when you have children, it kind of shifts, because now you can't make it just about you. It's you have to make them a priority, and that shift really creates a lot of growth and a huge amount of connections. We start getting you'll connect with a lot of other people. They're going to resonate, and then you realize you got a community behind you. Your mom's going to help you out. She's going to have grandkids that are millionaires.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess by the time they're rich, millionaire won't mean anything. We'll have to be billionaires.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
My daughter keeps going this way. And
congratulations, you're 17 and you're a millionaire. No big deal.
Yeah, I was like, that's minimum wage is $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, like you're 30. We're about the same age. I'm 44. You're 38, man. So we grew up in the same world. I could buy bread, 4 loaves for $1 when I was a little kid, and now it's like $4 a loaf, man. That dollar is different, man. What do you think about the economy?
Sucks.
It sucks. Well, I get that. What are some of the things that you think are impacting the economy right now?
Elect a cheese dick, and you'll see what happens.
Okay.
That's really the situation in our hands. I mean, since the year 2000, shit's just gotten a little crazy around here. Yeah. Since the Y2K, dude, Y2K.
Yeah.
The computer's gonna fail. Since about that, it's just gotten really batshit nuts around here.
That's funny, man. Yeah, from the Matrix forward. Yeah. It's you're right, man. I at the time that I had just gotten in the dealership world when Y2K hit, and everybody was worried. That our system's going to crash. These are going to crash, and then it seemed in my mind, and maybe you feel the same way. Every year there was a new tragedy on the horizon. And it was just a fear-mongering propaganda for eternity.
Right. That's why I'm not freaking out about interest rates.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you go look at the interest rates before the year 2000, and then go look at the interest rates after the year 2000?
Yes.
I mean, and if you really want to fine tune it, go look at 9/11/01 before and after on interest rates. I mean, that was our biggest disaster since Pearl Harbor. And I call it the New World. Because that's when things really change.
Correct.
I mean, we got security in our airplanes and our airports now that we never had before then, I remember going to the airport and standing by the window and watching my parents fly off. You can't do that anymore.
No, I remember coming in, and they would, you'd be received. You'd see your, and that's completely changed. I mean, the Patriot Act changed so much about our structure, and then I find it interesting that now when I go fly, like I have some friends that are pilots now, and it's not really necessary, because when I go fly an airplane, there's none of that shit. I just go to the airport, hop in a plane, and we roll. It's when I go commercial, and it's just you made a cattle call. I mean, it's
back to the grind.
Yeah, it's like it used to be an awesome experience. You felt proud. I watch movies like Home Alone, and you're like, oh, that's what it used to be. I remember that, but now there's people alive today that are in their 20s that have never experienced life like that. It didn't, they're 21, 22 years old, and their entire life has never been as receptive at an airport as what it used to be for us. So we got the interest rates kind of. I mean, they're going up and down. That's always the case. But what other kind of things you think would? What do you think would help the economy? What kind of things would
lower the interest rates?
Okay,
but the problem is if we lower the interest rates, inflation is going to get going again a little higher. I mean, right now I feel like that they've curbed it back quite a bit through Jerome Powell's work of raising interest rates.
Correct.
I lean conservative. But I got a really good friend of mine. He leans liberal, and I remember during COVID, I was signing for 3% investor loans. A little bit over 3% investor loans. So that means homesteaders were a little bit over 2%. So that would put you in around January to March of 2021 when it was the all-time low. And I remember talking to this guy and my buddy, and I said, man, they need to raise interest rates. And here I am, an investor, saying we need to raise interest rates because it's going to get out of hand. And sure enough, it got out of hand. But this economy is fragile. I mean, it feels like a grain bin that's full of grain and full of static electricity that's just about to blow and cause an explosion. And Michael Burry put a $1.6 billion bet against the S&P 500. I believe that's a 90-day bet.
That's insane, isn't it?
That would put us probably around day 30 if I was not just shooting off the cuff here. That's a pretty big chunk of his portfolio, and he's betting against the United States economy. Interest rates are high. Banks have been failing. No big deal. Sweep them under the rug. Cheese Dick does that. We have crises in Maui. We have crises everywhere. We got storms brewing to the left and right.
You got a lot going on.
And if I was reading, I guess last night, that we've had 6 major hurricanes in the last year or something like that. I forgot, it was something like that. But they're saying that the Gulf of Mexico is hotter than it's ever been, so it's going to be a gasoline can on a can of fire here, or I'm sorry, on fire. And when you start smacking the Gulf Coast and the eastern seaboard, you might want to start reducing interest rates.
I mean, and I'm with you on that, man. Living in Texas, I mean, the Gulf Coast and is always, hurricanes are just a reality of life. But I think when I started to pay a little bit more attention is when I started seeing the crazy stuff going on in California, and I'm like, shit, man, this is like, you can see the difference. I never heard of a hurricane hitting California, really. I mean, I'm 40-something years old. I mean, it happens, but you can see the impacts are changing. We got, things are happening, and people aren't having to be responsible for it, and we've got to figure out a solution that's going to work. And I don't know what it is. That's not my strong suit, man. I mean, it's the scientists probably don't know either, but something's got to change.
Our job as real estate investors is to react.
Yeah, that's it. We're reactive with plan.
I mean, you can be proactive, but you can't be too proactive when you don't know what's going to come out of the Gulf.
Correct, you pay attention and try to operate within the best strategy you can implement.
What about these insurance rates?
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. That's it. And now this was. Tell me if this happened to you too, man. The insurance rates are definitely gone up. And then if you live, any of the water areas, anything close to water whatsoever, Florida, Texas, whatever, our rates are going up, and in some cases they're canceling policies and
altogether,
forcing to reinstate a new policy so that they can go to a completely different level of insurance with different coverages. And not only are the rates going up, the restrictions and the things that they're making ineligible to be claimed on, the exceptions are going up as well. So I got more exclusions and then higher rates, and they're covering less, so less coverage.
It's the Obamacare of real estate.
Yes, it's a Ponzi scheme is what it is, man. It's you got to continue to pay into a system that refuses to pay back to you, and I hate it. I mean, and on we have to have, where I'm at primarily in the Corpus area or along the coastal bend, our windstorm insurance is high, flood insurance is high, our regular insurance rates are going up. Some places we're not eligible to get on some of the multifamilies. It's almost impossible to get a policy activated, so they're not wanting to set up a new one, or they're telling us, well, we'll have to do it after hurricane season. I'm like, man, I'm not buying it in 6 months. I'm buying it now. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like I don't have it. I mean, how's it going for you? I mean, your market's slightly different with insurance because you're in a different area, but you still have tornadoes and.
Well, let's talk about the coastal bend. I've got a property down in Flower Bluff.
Okay.
It's a 2015. Nice build.
Yeah.
And it's rented, and the tenant's not paying, but I'm kind of being gentle because he's a contractor. Mm-hmm. So if you need a contractor down there, that's my guy. So that way I can go get him to do run-throughs for me, walkthroughs and stuff. But him being late, I'm really treading lightly because there's going to be a storm that's going to hit the Gulf somewhere.
Yes.
And if it's Corpus Christi, Texas, and I'm in Denton, Texas, I kind of need a guy to board my house up. Yeah. So I'm trying to tread lightly on this eviction
I'm
situation.
There, man. Give me a holler.
I mean, but you're going to be busy with all your real estate. Like, Ryan, I can't help you. It's like, fuck, I got to fly down there or drive down there real quick and go board up my house because I kicked this guy out. But the insurance rate was $5,600. Yeah. I got a $5,600 policy on a house in Flower Bluff.
Yes.
That's nuts.
It's crazy. And then if you go and read the updated exclusions on the policy, you're going to start realizing that they're taking away a lot of the coverages as well. And and you're forced to have the coverage that's continuing to pay less on a rate that's going up, and those are factors that go. So not only are my interest rates going up, my cost of owning the property with taxes, the insurance, the whole PITA is going to increase, while wages and income are kind of staying stagnant. So my expenses are increasing, but the ability to sell them at a higher valuation is starting to reach a point where it's limited. So we're running into people that they don't have the jobs. They're like, I only make X number of dollars, and so does everybody else. So, at some point we got to find some homeostasis that works for everybody.
Well, the problem is we kept interest rates so low and for so long, which made everything go up,
Correct.
Including housing, which means that the replacement cost has to go up.
Yes.
The labor cost has gone up.
Yes.
The materials cost has gone up. but the wages are staying the same.
Correct.
So we as landlords have to pass that expense off to the working class that are living in our houses, and plus still make a profit.
Correct.
And still cover CapEx.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're the bad guy because we can't provide affordable housing. It's not the insurance company that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's not the tax man that's the bad guy. It's not the fucking U.S. government that let interest rates go rock bottom that's the bad guy. It's
Correct.
me and you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a piece of shit because you're a landlord. That's the way. That's the way I feel right now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. They put a lot of pressure. Well, it's your fault. Okay, but with the
I
exception of a
shit.
few people, with the exception of a few people, nobody really owns these things free and clear. Most of them have debt attached to them, so that payment still has to be serviced, whether or not you're paying the payment or not. It's and so I have to absorb that responsibility and handle that heat. It's there's no levy, and during COVID, I mean, oh my goodness, man, I mean that was insane. I mean, they shut down. You can't do evictions. I mean, and I get that there's some help, but there was help for the people paying the rent, but not too much help for the landlords. And we couldn't get into the courts, and if we did an eviction, it was almost impossible to get approved. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on the landlords to solve problems that the government put them into. They want us to create housing. They want us to solve the increase in population and manage that for them, but they don't want to help us make that a viable business model. They're contracting that for us.
So Ryan Buys Houses got a $12,000 PPP loan.
Okay.
That was forgivable. It was forgiven. I knew it was going to be forgiven.
$12,000. Okay.
But I also lost about $12,000 in rents.
Yeah.
So am I really the bad guy for taking the PPP loan?
No, it didn't. You just broke even.
Yeah, I did.
And you don't know how that was going to play out. You don't know if you're going to make that money back. How those things were going to change moving forward. We didn't know if it was going to open back up. If it's not going to open back up. If I got to continue to make these payments, how's it going to play? It's and that PPP loan. I mean, $12,000 sounds like a lot, but we're talking $1,000 a month, and you got
12 months of rent.
12 months of rent, and that's one house.
Yeah.
You got 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, 500 of these things, and they all default.
And no employees.
Yeah.
If you're only a one man show or a one man employee or something, you're only going to get so much.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that impact that. They're making the landlords look a little tough. That's certainly bad. And then kind of going back to that economy. I mean, rates going up. That's certainly impactful. But what you mentioned about the economy for the U.S. is starting to struggle. So on the world stage, what do you think are some of the causes of that?
Well, as of right now, Africa's not getting fed. So that's going to cause struggle. So who's going to go bail out Africa?
Yeah.
You and me.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, because of the bullshit that's going on in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's raising interest rates. I want to say that I heard somebody was reducing interest rates. Some country, I don't remember what it was, but I think somebody reduced an interest rate. But a lot of these other countries, they're having to raise interest rates too to combat inflation. I mean, go look at Argentina. Mm-hmm. It's insane there. Go look at Venezuela. They don't even price stuff because tomorrow it's a new price.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we're starting to see, if you got my grandfather on this podcast, he's going to say it's tribulation. It's coming. And
correct. Yeah, I hear a lot of that.
So, the world's a jacked up place. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be continually a jacked up place. I mean, go back to what I told you from the year 2000 backwards for the year 2000 mm-hmm. forward. The year 2000 backward, there was a lot of jacked up stuff. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of uneducated decisions that caused a lot of chaos. But right now, I feel like the majority of the world has access to communication. The majority of the world has access to education. Majority, not all of it.
Correct.
But the decision makers in this world, I just don't understand why we continue electing buffoons to run our country.
See, and I'm I know it's going to go public, but I don't necessarily feel like that's the case. You say we elect them. I get to pick one of the two choices that were pre-selected for me. I didn't really get to pick. You're telling me out of
it's a free country, my ass.
Out of 300 million people, these are the two best choices you could fucking come up with. What the fuck? I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, the people who run the country are the people who own the corporations at a mass level. So these are more, the BlackRocks and the Vanguards and the State Street Capitals and the those CEOs. Those are the presidents that are running the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who set policy, they set procedure, and what was it, the president over there saying we have to force pattern changes in the people, by making these new things happen. And I feel like the elected officials are nice figureheads to blame, but the people who are in the back screen are the ones who are really causing the issues. And in the long term, people who are in place, we got 4 years for a president. He's running the whole thing. But how many people are in Congress, Senate? How are those representatives that are there for 40 years?
Why is it Nancy Pelosi's like a multi-millionaire?
Yes,
she's got like a $200 a job.
Yes, and going and talking with her, and her husband, the wealth that they've been able to accumulate in, when he was selling the post offices and how do you get those deals? Oh, he didn't know. He doesn't know my ass. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's and then, but who pays for all that? So all that bloat and theft, etc., on the big stage for the government gets absorbed by our tax dollars. So we got to pay more, and it's I wish that it was that we were at that elite level of wealth, but until you're in the B's, you're just taking it in the knees, man. You're not you're just getting beat up. I mean, it's I might have a little bit nicer car, but I'm not flying around in a jet. It's and then and I think that's really like something that nobody really wants to just say is it's bullshit. The people I'm electing are the ones who are taking the heat for it, but they're doing what they're told. I mean, like watching Mitch McConnell losing his having his challenges. Somebody's feeding him information. Here, say these words. It's not his words. We can see that he doesn't know what he's doing right now. But somebody's feeding that agenda. So I want to find out who those people are and how do we adapt those. But some of the things I've seen on the world stage, though, kind of going back to that, is like, what are your thoughts on like the BRICS situation?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to form an alliance.
Correct.
There's NATO, and then there's BRICS, and then there's
now we got two opposing
there's
forces.
the Axis powers, and then there's the Allies powers. I mean, it seems like history is repeating itself.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. It's like, okay, we got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now Saudi Arabia is coming in, and they're starting to trade in their local currencies, which causes a devaluation of the dollar, which means now I have a different inflation from a different source. So I got. And and what's the solution to that? I mean, typically our solution has always been war. At the apex, we'll put sanctions, and we'll try to create embargoes, and we'll try to levy this, and then ultimately we just blow shit up.
That's really how it works.
It's and then in that system, while we're blown up now, we have money for defense. Now we have money for this, and that kicks the economy back up and recovers. And that's nobody wants to say it pretty up. But
I mean, war got us out of the Depression.
Two of them. We got the Great Depression, and then in World War I, World War II. I mean, war is what saved our economy twice. Yeah. And then and that was an unfortunate reality. You have a reduction in population and an increase in capital spent, and an extraction of wealth from one class into the mass, which brings that back up, in my opinion.
Well, and then also if you're paying for bombs going to Ukraine,
correct,
or
expensive ass bombs.
They're expensive ass bombs. Well, why are they expensive? Because we dropped the interest rate so low to cause inflation, which has made wages go up, and which has made Lockheed Martin get their hand out. Raytheon's got their hand out more. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we kind of did it to ourselves. But now these bombs are going over to Ukraine and Syria and all these other places and stuff like that at our expense. But when I say at our expense, people say tax dollars. People think tax dollars are expense.
Yeah.
The hidden tax is the interest rate, mm-hmm. because where does the money for the interest go? Back to the Federal Reserve.
Correct.
Right. So we're paying for bombs through higher interest rates. Sorry, folks, you can't afford a house because we got to pay for bombs over in Ukraine.
Yeah. Dropping bombs, not dropping rates.
That's right. We're dropping bombs, not dropping rates.
Yeah, and that's and you kind of see that. I mean, I put a deal together one day showing that most of the people that I work with, and maybe you do the same. And I would imagine some of the trap. These people are on a fixed income or for the most part a salary position that pays them a consistent wage. So their budget is pretty fixed. They don't have. In our business, I might have 10 grand one day and 10 million the next, but for most people that's not the case. We're going to be fixed. So if they can afford a $2,500 payment, they can afford a $2,500 payment. And when in 2021, in March of 2021, a $2,500 payment might have been a $350,000 house.
Right.
But a $2,500 payment today, at 7 to 8%, you're probably running at 205,000. So it's $150,000 of equity profit money that's just extracted, but it's not. It's just the consumer and the seller aren't getting it, but that interest, that money's made up on the interest, and that's going back to the Federal Reserve. They're capitalizing
which is
that $150,000,
which is going to be sent to Ukraine,
Yeah.
or now it's going to be sent to Africa so we can
Yeah.
feed them.
Yeah. And then we have, I was watching a thing a couple of years ago where they were demonetizing parts of or Nigeria. They were putting the money into the system, but giving them back as credit. So that was caused a lot of stress over there, and I'm curious to see how that changes too as we go to a digital currency and remove the paper version. How do you think that that's going to affect the normal class? The wealthy will be obviously fine, but
Well, I think it's already here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of my friends that are, not millionaires, that are still living in W-2 life, with the $2,500 house payment, and I see them not paying cash. I got one friend that pays cash for everything, and that's just the way he's been his whole life. And he's in his 60s, but life's kind of passing him by because everything's cash, or he's cash and everything's not cash. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I think for me, what the challenge I run into with switching to that type of a system is the ability to turn off my money. It's if it goes to a digital concern, like with Trudeau in Canada, they had the issue with the truckers. They were causing problems. They just boom, you don't have money anymore.
Buddy.
Now you can't fund your campaign to go to fight the system. You don't have access to your capital.
We disagree. We disagree.
Yeah, and if you disagree against the person with more power, then you're out.
Yeah, and they already took away their guns up there, so
Yeah, and they're trying to do that here all the time. The Second Amendment matters. I mean, it's nobody wants to go to war, and nobody wants to fight that hard. But
Second Amendment protects the first.
All the rest are protected by the second. I mean, it's and number one's being attacked continuously.
Right.
And the way that they moved around that is say, okay, well, the government gives you the right to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, as the government, go into the private sector and start leveraging and these private entities to then censor you on a mass scale. So I can't do it through the government sanction, but I can go through Elon made that quite apparent with Twitter, saying, well, here's the FBI saying this, here's the situations, and they're censoring it out that way, and that's annoying and disheartening right now. But later, when that also ties into whether I get to eat or not eat, or whether you get to eat or not eat just because you agree or disagree, or you go to a social credit score and now you can't buy anything, you can't spend any money, you have to be compliant to that system. That gets scary to me, and that I think that that reality is starting to take place. China has their system set up right now. We're pulling the dollar out, slowly switching to a digital currency. Trudeau has already set the precedent. If we can make this happen, we turn off your money and don't have access to the capital. So it's not a conspiracy theory. This actually happened just recently. So it's I'm curious to see how these things change over time and how that impacts our business. And it's interesting how all these this whole conversation still ties into our day-to-day life on the real estate, because all those things affect our buyers, our sellers, the whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
So what else? What's going forward for you? What's like from today moving on through the rest of your venture? I know you're going to be a dad. You're buying every trap house you can. What other ventures you got going on? What?
Well, I'm considering turning a trap house into an office.
Okay, I did that actually.
A sales office.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really want to pay rent on a commercial building. Nor sign a commercial lease, because I don't have any commercial office space that would make sense, and I would rather just have something that's my own. That way, it's my show. It's my yard.
Absolutely.
It's my thing, and until somebody finds me out and has to shut me down because of code compliance or something. But
depends on how many people you got.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm considering turning a trap house in Denton that I just bought into a sales office and getting a little bit more of a team. Right now, my team is social media. It's the public.
Yes, and I get that. I just recently had started expanding that out. It's most everything was me and a partner, and we were able to maintain a fairly respectable business at that level. But as of fairly recently, I started hiring a couple people. We started bringing some more people in, and I think when I got in this business, I mean, most of y'all don't know, but I managed dealerships for 2.5 decades. That's really where my strong suit came from, and then I transferred those skills into real estate. But the running teams was part of that business model. And I think when I left automotive, I would think I was really determined not to put myself back at the 100, 200 work week of managing teams and getting those things. But ultimately, what I'm finding now is that my work level has increased to about that time anyway. So now I need to delegate and build the teams and build the systems to take over. So it ended up being what I was afraid to start is ending up being the saving of my time. If it wouldn't have been for putting these teams together and starting that up, I wouldn't be able to be here right now doing this podcast, because I'd be over there showing a house or looking at an appointment or collecting a rent or whatever. So now there's people in place that are achieving their goals and building their dreams. And then with our people, and I don't know how you're going to do with yours, I want them in on the deals. And you want to partner on this fourplex? Great, let's buy it together. We'll all
sign here.
We'll all get together.
How's your credit look?
Yeah. Maybe it's a credit issue. Maybe it's not. I mean, and actually that was a big part of the young guys I have working for me. I said, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get this credit imperative, because if I can get you an 850 credit score when you're 19 years old, the world's going to open up for you. If you're a 540, you'll never get out of it. You'll take so much money for you to buy something that you'll be broke forever. So it's so we help get those people established. And now these guys, I feel like over time that these guys are going to be well established, well going, and we're going to build this together and go to the moon. But on your deal, you're going to build out your team. So how do you envision your team going?
Well, it's complicated because I run 6 different real estate businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And with 7 different partners.
Okay.
So it's going to be complicated, but this is probably going to be my project and only my project.
Nice.
Which is probably going to put some salt in some people's mouths, I guess, and they're going to be a little salty about it. But at the end of the day, I'm Ryan Jackson. I'm not somebody else.
Yeah.
And Ryan's going to. There's been a saying that Ryan's going to do what Ryan's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, through my family and my friends and stuff like that. Ryan does what Ryan wants to do, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I was a retail sales manager. Retail sales manager.
Yeah.
And at one time, I think I was managing 35 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the guy that was responsible for everything that did nothing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way the life's going right now, is I'm the guy that's responsible for everything that I can't do everything.
Correct.
So what I've done is I have decided that I'm not going to do anything. I'm not. I'm just going to direct traffic.
Delegate it out.
Like, I had a friend of mine yesterday who, when I got a friend of mine, he works a W-2 job, and
Mm-hmm.
I started out 6 or 7 years ago helping him with his rentals, getting them leased and stuff like that. And I still help him, but last night he was like, "Hey man, can you do a renewal lease for me?" I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, I gotta fill out a lease for you. I gotta put it on DocuSign, do all that stuff. I ain't got time for that shit. It's my day off." But this is my best man, by the way. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just do a group text with my guy over there in the Philippines and say, guy over there in the Philippines, his name's Irvin. He's my executive assistant in the Philippines.
Yeah.
He did it. Like, I'm not doing anything anymore. Like, call this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He works for me. He's on my payroll, but call this guy.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to direct traffic at this point.
Yeah.
Business is through the roof. I've been very, very busy. And now it's just like I got a baby girl on the way.
Yeah, that's super
And do I want to spend time with my baby girl and my wife? Or do I want to do a fucking lease on DocuSign?
Yeah,
that ain't even mine.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100%. I mean, when I was growing up, they would try to convince me that quality time is what mattered over quantity time,
Right.
And I don't think that that's really the case. I mean, quality time is going to happen naturally, but if I have enough exposure with my kids and time with them, you're going to be there for the little things that impact to them. What's important to me is not, going to Disney World might be awesome. I'd be, hey, this is cool. But for them, it's helping them learn how to tie their shoe, or helping them learn how to make a sandwich, or how to wash dishes, or just being around them. And I think that the more you free up your schedule to spend time with your family, that those are the people who are going to be with you when you're old. All these people who are making rich and making millionaires, they might send me a get well soon card.
Yeah.
But when I'm no longer a profit center for them, I'll fade away, and
Right.
because it's not super important. I'm not important in their world anymore. But with my family, and with the kids, they're going to to reach their apex about the time that we're in decline.
Right.
And so those that building those relationships with your daughter coming, and if you'll have more children coming up, I think that putting the energy towards that's a beautiful thing. It's super important. It's it'll pay dividends way beyond anything that you can see in the stock world.
If I'm working on your apex, I can't work on my baby girl's apex.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the way I got to see it. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I want an office, so I can do a little bit better on time blocking. Because
Yes.
right now I'm officing out of my house, and the hours of my I'm literally open Monday through Monday
Uh-huh.
from 8 a.m. to probably midnight.
Mm-hmm.
That's really my work hours.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
I believe it. I 100% believe it. I don't think we ever stop, really.
No.
Because even when you're not working, I'll be eating lunch,
There's text
and then
message.
I'm text messaging
comes
or
text.
emailing,
Yeah.
or I'm putting or I'm posting to this media account, and then it almost becomes work is an addiction, in a way. It's you want to perform, you don't want to miss an opportunity, and that's why we're successful, and that's why you do so good. But there's got to be a limit somewhere.
You said you don't want to miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the problem is I have that same dilemma where I
Yeah.
don't want to miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right now, we've been on this podcast here, I don't know, going on half an hour, and I guarantee there's 50 text messages on my phone to read.
Yes. Yeah, my phone keeps dinging. 'Cause, it forwards from my phone to my watch, and so I just see it keep scrolling through, and I'm like, that's just how it goes, man. But it's important. The other aspects are super important too. I mean, sometimes just going for a walk with with your baby girl out in the whatever path that you have around, or y'all got that ranch, so I mean, you go out there and go work the ranch, go whatever that may be, planting flowers with her, or going just walking around picking up stuff, or mending the fences, or
Watering cows.
watering cows, stacking hay, whatever you need to do. I don't know what your ranch all entails, so it's but those kind of things will be memories for life, and teach skills that she's going to be able to implement in her future and pass on to her children and their children. And but there's a lot of things that I learned from my grandparents that they learned from their parents, and the generational knowledge, just like generational curses, matter. It's I learned what not to do. I had to correct those, but I also learned a lot of good things that they were able to teach me that are helping me succeed today. And I know that you got a phenomenal amount of knowledge, so I know your baby girl's going to have a super head start in life, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be fun.
Great, man. And of course, you're pretty public, so we're going to see all that stuff. She's going to be, hey, this is my baby girl. We're over here at this trap house over here. Well, maybe the next trap house. So,
Baby girl's got a flea collar on her ankle.
Yeah, got a flea collar on her ankle. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, fleas, ticks, mosquitoes. That seem to be the trap house insects of choice.
Needles
man.
and spoons.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
Needles and spoons and candles.
Yeah, got those. Yeah, moving into, I mean, we're still building up. Our rental portfolio is still growing, but the next big project that I'm working on right now, and it's in the early stages. We've talked to the city, we've talked to some developers, and we're about to get to the point where we're putting all the business plan together and getting the finals to start raising capital. But we're going to do a 344-acre flying community development, and that's really where the next big focus is. And I'm kind of wanting to slide over to that way to also free up time. I got one project to focus on. It's a big project, but this will be the big baby, versus 50 different flips we got going on, or whatever.
Putting a lot of eggs in a basket there. Actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other basket's still there, but but we're converting that basket into a self-sufficient basket. Now I'm not having to manage that basket on a day-to-day basis. I got I'm starting to develop up that team for an acquisitions, the dispositions, the management side, and starting to work on building that to make it autonomous. I don't need to be there all day. I just need to oversee it and make sure it's going. And that's really the change we've been making recently. And I'm starting to do that to free up time for larger projects to see how we can develop those, and then and get this development going, which just actually created from one of the meetups. I met somebody at the meetup who said, hey, I have this need, can you help? And I said, well, yeah, we probably can, but I know this other opportunity. Let's look at this. We'll solve this problem. I want to get this problem solved. But I think this would help you in the long term. And he had a flight school, super nice guy. and it was he was on a land lease. He had a hard time getting lending because it's he just was trying to find something that was getting going. I said, well, we'll help you take care of that, but I know this other opportunity here. Do you know some pilots who are interested in maybe partnering up with us on this project? And then yes, and then the more people he talks to, we get a lot of interest. I'm like, okay, great. Now who's got capital and who's got knowledge? Because I need both.
Yeah.
So I need somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, and I need money to make it work. So
Right.
it's and so together between my networks and his networks, we've been able to get a pretty good community together. And then I've met some other people along the way that've connected me with more. So now we're starting to get to that point now where okay, we've gotten terms with the sellers. We're all on the same page as what we're looking to do, because there's multiple families involved in all that land. And then we've gotten with the city, we've gotten with the FAA, we've gotten with the TxDOT, and got a lot of the groundwork in place. So that's going to be probably my next big project, is working on getting that going. And it's way beyond my capabilities. It's way beyond my knowledge set, way beyond my skill set. And I don't care, because I'm looking forward to it. I mean, everything I've done in my life has been way beyond my knowledge base until I did it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It was, I didn't know how to walk at one point, didn't know how to ride a bike at one point, didn't know how to buy a house, didn't know how to sell nothing. I was an introvert that, grew up in, questionable childhood. My family, sweet people, but, choices weren't always the best. And then, so I was a little afraid to talk to people when I was really little, and then obviously I had to get into sales, and that's where I learned how to make money. And so everything, I had to learn all along the way. So this is a project that's way beyond my normal scope, but the connections I made so far have actually helped in the other aspects of business. Whereas I wouldn't really spend time with the mayors and the city council and the city board and city managers, because that's not super important on the rehab side of my business, because they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like,
But they do care about development.
They do care about big developments and bringing $300-400 million into their deal and making their city look better, and how do they compete with a neighboring city, and what's their ad valorem tax going to be, how much is the county going to be able to pick up in increased appraised values, and then and then they're willing to do public-private partnerships, and then we got a TERS, which just basically means that they set a ground level of where the taxes start to go up, but these are all things that I'm learning, as I'm going. This certainly isn't stuff I knew. I knew how to sell things, and I knew how to flip some houses, and then make some rentals, and make a couple Airbnbs, and now we're converting that knowledge into a completely different skill set. So that's probably where I'll be spending the next 3 to 5 years, focused on developing that project out, and in hopes that once this gets underground, that we're able to duplicate similar infrastructure throughout at least through Texas. I'd love to build a similar community in Fredericksburg and in Dallas, and because basically it's a flying community. You fly into your smaller plane, turn into your house. Your garage is your hangar, so you park there. It's also mixed-use property, so there's commercial and residential and restaurants, and the aesthetic is aviation themed, so it'll be a little bit different vibe, and the location here, it's on the water, so the aesthetics are really beautiful. So we're on the water. You got the air, sea, all the pieces are going to be present at that particular location. And it's gotten some attention for some people I can't really mention, but some pretty famous real estate people when I talked about it in some of the masterminds that I'm in with them, and they've put up a little bit of money, so it should get going. So I think that's where I'm focused on.
Well, I'll quote Fred Durst.
Yeah, life's
a lesson, you learn it when it's through.
That's it, man. It's fun, man.
Yeah.
It's and I like it, and then I look forward to seeing how that comes out, man. So I mean, what's one piece of it? I think we're starting to wind it down. So like, what's one piece of advice you give to like to anybody for any purpose? What's something that resonates with you that you think the world should know?
You're gonna lose friends. You're gonna have people that hate on you. You're gonna have people that love you. You're gonna have people that love you until you can't take care of them. And like when I mean time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got so many people that reach out to me that are mad at me because I just don't have the fucking time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry. I would love to sit here and teach you how to wholesale, but I just don't have the time. But all I can say to people that are going into this business and trying to make something of themselves as an entrepreneur, just don't stop. You know, I've lost 2 friends this year.
Oh man.
Because of who I am, because they can't handle it.
Okay.
They don't like it. They don't like me anymore, and it's not that it's like they're intimidated. So you're going to lose friends, but you know what? I've lost 2. How many do you think I've gained? More than 2.
A few million. You know, you got a pretty good follower, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like losing friends. I don't ever want to be the guy that
hurts, man.
It does. I lost a 27-year friend this week.
Yeah,
you know,
man, I'm with you. But relationships are super important to me, and I try to pretend that they're not. But if somebody gets mad at me or something and blocks me on social media, or tell somebody else something around me, and I catch about it, man, I feel it. My response might be the professional response, but in my heart of hearts, it fucking hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Because I genuinely care about each person that I run into, even the people I don't necessarily like sometimes.
Yeah.
I still want them to be the best versions of themselves they can be, and when that's not reciprocated, it's confusing to me, because that's my truth. This is how I am, but that's not the case for maybe them. And then when they cut that friendship or cut that tie, I'm like, oh man, where did I fuck up? How did I mess up? What did I do wrong? And how do I fix it? And sometimes it's just, they're not meant for you. You got to let go. Say, okay, these were a tie down, not an asset.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in my life, I really think my family matters most.
They're the best,
and that's the way it always should be.
Yeah.
And maybe it hasn't always been that way in my mind, and now it is, because I got a baby girl and I'm married.
Yes.
2 years ago or 3 years ago, I wasn't even with Hannah. And now we knew each other, but now we're married and we got a kid, and that's what matters the most right now. And everything else that's standing in my way for what matters most sometimes is going to get pushed out of the way, because I have to focus on what matters most now.
Yeah, well, I 100% agree with you, man. Well, Brian, man, I sure appreciate having you here. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing your wisdom and being a part of our world. And if there's anything we can do to help each other, I'm here for you. Let me know if you need me to get those things fixed for you in Corpus. I'm here. When the hurricane comes, we're all in it together, man.
Yeah,
I'm not letting that Maui shit happen in my hometown.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's but anyway, thank y'all so much. We appreciate you. Y'all be blessed. Thank you guys for being here at the Richard M. Shelton podcast for No Excuse Real Estate. We'd love you being here. Want you guys to check out, if you have any questions, come to my socials. You can go to my website, RichardMShelton.com. Find Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, the new X, whatever you need. Come see me. We're here to help.